So analyst firms project trillions of dollars in annual impact, and not in 10 years. We're talking in 12 months. In the next 2 to 3 years, trillions of dollars in annual impact from AI. Yet, as that opening video said, most marketers don't know what it is, can't explain it, can't figure out how to apply it. So we want to help you become a pioneer, but not just within your company, within an industry-wide transformation. So starting off a talk about pioneers seemed like an appropriate theme, given that this is the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission to the moon. So David Meerman Scott, who's here, and he'll be on stage with me tomorrow, is maybe the biggest space fanatic I know, and I thought I was a pretty big space fanatic. He actually has a museum in his house for space, and brought a cool artifact with him. So the theme you'll see is actually in part because I was obsessed with space as a child, and I've kind of developed as I've grown because it's so unknown and there's so much to discover, and I've always been fascinated by it, and then it just so happened that it coincided with the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. So pioneers go places other people aren't willing or able to go. They take chances, they take risks, they seek new information, they seek a need to understand. And that's what we've built this event for, is that desire for people who want to understand and want to find a way to apply new knowledge. So in 2016 is when we launched the Institute. Since that time, I've probably done 70 or 80 talks around the world on artificial intelligence. The best analogy I've actually come up with to explain AI to someone is to talk about maps. So a road atlas, this is a little older crowd. I'll often talk to really young crowds, and I'll say, has anyone used a road atlas? And no one raises their hands. So I would imagine there's people in this room who've used a road atlas. So my mom owns a cookie store, and I used to do deliveries for her in high school and college. And I would go in, I would get, say, 15 deliveries. I would sit there for an hour and a half, mapping them in the same road atlas that people had been using for the store for years. There's highlights everywhere, pen marks everywhere, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to go to those 15 destinations, trying to predict the fastest path to get from A to B to C to D. So we didn't have Google Maps. If I would have just had Google Maps, just enter in 15 destinations, or enter a destination, enter the next one. The key where artificial intelligence comes into play, there's no one at Google typing new directions when there's an accident ahead of you. They're learning from new data that comes in and predicting a better path. So it's a very simple example, but it's a really practical example. The machine isn't making decisions. It's taking information in at a level we can't process as humans, making a prediction, and then we figure out what to do with that prediction as humans. That's basically where we're trying to get as marketers. Take all this information in, let a machine help us assess it, let it make a prediction or a recommendation, then go. If anyone has a Tesla or has driven in a Tesla, you may have experienced autopilot. Now, this version of autopilot is not available yet. You can get in a car, set a destination on the freeway, it'll go from entrance to exit on its own, it'll recommend lane changes. This is true autonomy, where the human's there for legal purposes, and the car's been given a destination, and it's now driving itself. On the right, you actually see computer vision recognizing objects as in-path or non-in-path. It's recognizing lines. This is AI in a more advanced way, where it's just told a goal or an endpoint, and it's trying to find the most efficient way to get there and then taking you there. We're nowhere near this in marketing. The car industry arguably isn't really as close as some may say they are to this. We're not trying to go from 0 to 5 in autonomy as marketers. We're trying to go from like 0 to 1 or 1 to 2. And those can be major breakthroughs for your business in terms of efficiency and revenue. So any Tim Urban readers in the room, Wait But Why blog? No, okay, so a couple. It's phenomenal. He's been on a hiatus for a while, but I think he's coming back to talk about Elon Musk's Neuralink company in the very near future. So Tim he does this deep dive into topics. So this one specific, it was AI, the AI revolution. He did a 2-part series. And he picks a topic and says, wait, why? Like, why is that what it is? How does that work? So he had these amazing drawings within his blog post. And in this one, he was saying, when we're trying to project out, so as marketers, we're looking out and saying, what does the future look like? All we can think about as humans is in a linear path. You can only think about what you know, what's possible now, and then you try and project out right ahead of that. So if you're standing today and you're trying to look forward to tomorrow or even 12 months from now, you're going to think in a relatively linear way. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. We're making leaps forward. Just yesterday, I'm sure, Chris, you probably saw this, Elon Musk was on stage announcing they built a human-machine interface where they can put laces into your brain and make people walk and see and hear who couldn't do that before. They're literally building technology that now exists that he thinks they'll have approval on to start testing within 12 months. I knew it was coming, and I saw that this morning, and I was like, oh, I didn't think they were that close. Leaps forward, things you can't comprehend are happening around the world, in other areas, in government, in DARPA, and they're doing things you literally couldn't comprehend. We're not even talking about that stuff yet. We're just talking about making email smarter or making automation smarter. So to bring it back to something that's a little more relatable, I graduated from Ohio University in 2000, 41 if you're trying to do the math. None of these things existed. Social media. So Zuckerberg created Facebook in 2004 in his dorm room, wasn't publicly available until 2006 to most people. Twitter was, 2007, I think. LinkedIn was somewhere in there around 2005. The iPhone didn't even come out until 2007. So Apple made computers when I graduated from college. Google was only a year old, so almost none of the things you know of Google existed. So you can go down the line. I mean, Slack is the really popular thing within businesses. Didn't exist. So when I came out of college with a journalism degree, came out of the journalism school, PR major, marketing business minor, none of this stuff existed. I built an entire agency around this. So my agency is 13 years old, content strategy, social media, marketing automation, like the things we've built an entire business around didn't exist. AI was talked about by geeks at like government labs. Like it wasn't even a topic really for the business world or for marketers. So I say that as in 19 years, the world has literally changed. The way we communicate, the way we buy, the way we behave, everything transformed. AI is going to do that in month increments or quarter increments or year increments. That level of change will start happening in time spans you can't even fathom. So this is the CEO of Google, Sundar. AI is probably the most important thing humanity has ever worked on. I think of it as something more profound than electricity or fire. And they've been working on AI since '99 when they started. They've said it was an AI-first company since that day. They're not a search engine company. It's not an email company. They're a data company. They collect data and then they make predictions about your life. So the more data they have, the more information they have to make these predictions. So when I think practically about it, I look at our agency and I say, okay, in 3 to 5 years, what of the tasks that we do every day are humans still exclusively going to do? Again, I'm not saying we're just going to have to get rid of everybody and let machines do the work. That's not even close to what's going to happen. But there are dozens, if not hundreds of things we do every day that a machine could assist with. It could take us from a 0 to a 1 in terms of intelligent automation. So it's an amazing lineup of speakers. We have 51 speakers this week. Some of them are going to go much deeper on specific areas of artificial intelligence. I'm going to focus on a very high level, kind of our point of view on AI, if you will. So the first, as you saw in the leading video, your life is AI assisted and your marketing will be too. You're going to use AI dozens of times today and you're not going to use it and you're not going to care. So when you use Google Maps or you use Netflix or you ask Siri a question, you don't sit there and think, thank you for machine learning. It is the most amazing thing in the world. No, it's like, that was really helpful. I just got the answer I was looking for. I got where I was going. Marketing software is going to be the same way. You could leave this conference and do nothing. And in the next 3 to 5 years, everything you use is just going to get smarter. And you're going to think, that's pretty cool, it does that now. But you also have the opportunity to seek the smarter tools out now. And that's the point of this conference, is to understand that these tools exist and to go seek them out. This, we could literally spend the next 2 days debating the actual definition of artificial intelligence. The next talk from Karen is, what is AI? Christopher Penn's going to come up and go deeper on machine learning and AI. It's going to be something we're going to cover in depth. My favorite definition is this, because it's so simple and explainable. So Demis Hassabis is the creator of DeepMind, which got acquired by Google in 2014 for about 600 million, I think, or so. Child chess prodigy, believes we can build intelligent machines that can do incredible things. If you want to do something awesome, watch AlphaGo on Netflix. It's like a documentary about the building of a machine that beat the world Go champion. So when you break this down, what this means is machines are stupid. And when I say machines, I mean generally software we use, anything we're using, any tool we're using, technology, to do something for us. Every piece of marketing software you've used in your career was built by a programmer who wrote code to tell it what to do, and then you wrote algorithms, believe it or not, which is literally just instructions to tell a machine what to do, to then tell it what to do. It doesn't do anything for you. So if you're setting up a workflow in marketing automation, you're figuring out what emails to send, you're writing the subject lines, you're figuring when to send them, what images to use, what copy to use. You're making all these decisions. But by making machines smarter, they can start recommending different things to you. They, again, don't have to make the decisions for you, but they're actually making the machines somewhat smarter. I was listening, I knew you guys were having a discussion, you and Jim, Chris and Jim Stern, who taught one of the workshops yesterday, were having this, what is machine learning, what is AI? And it's so fascinating to stand there and listen to people actually know what they're talking about, like debating this. I just always explain AI as this umbrella term. It's a collection of technologies, algorithms that make machines smarter. Machine learning is the primary type of AI. It's the one that makes predictions based on historical data about future outcomes. So again, if you're trying to figure out when to send an email, it can consume all the emails you've ever sent, and it can make a prediction about the best time to send it. Most applications of AI in marketing today are using machine learning to do something. AI enhances us. It augments what we're capable of doing. We're not here to talk about us all being out of jobs in 5 years. We're talking about how our jobs can actually get better. We can focus on doing things we actually love to do instead of the repetitive things we don't like to do, which is the point of the next thing. There's two primary things AI can do for your business. One, it can take repetitive, data-driven tasks, and it can help you intelligently automate them. And what I mean by that is automation, which we've all had, mixed with AI. So intelligent automation, again, on a 1 to 5 scale, it can be a 1, a 2, doesn't matter. You're making it a smarter process. So it can reduce costs by doing that, and it can drive revenue by helping you make predictions. There's a great book called Prediction Machines, written by 3 professors from the University of Toronto, and this was the main thing I took away from that book that really helped me even look differently at the world and AI. If you break down everything you do in marketing, you'll realize that you're basically making predictions hundreds of times a day. You're predicting, will they open the email I'm going to send? Will they read this? Will they react to this? Will they buy this? Will they click this button versus that button? You're trying to predict things. And so when you realize that that's what machines excel at, is predicting things based on a lot of data, you start to actually understand all the ways you can use artificial intelligence. I touched on this one, but if you think about Chief Martech, Scott Brinker's Martech 5000, which is actually like 7,000, every one of those logos on that slide should become smarter. They need to evolve to where they're thinking of ways to make the software smarter so that the humans, the marketers, have to do less and less of the heavy lifting. Consumers are also going to require this. So even if you're a B2B business, you live in a B2C world. You consume Netflix, you use Google, you shop with Amazon, you do all of these things where everything is personalized for you. Then you go try and buy a piece of software as a business and you interact with a chatbot that doesn't work and you get frustrated. You're getting used to, as a consumer, having things personalized for you. The trick is, how do you do that without invading privacy? Or how do you do it without putting people's data at risk? That's a tricky thing, which takes us to the next point. You're going to have superpowers. The stuff we do in marketing today is child's play compared to what you're going to be capable of doing. Audience targeting, media buying, social media, predicting behaviors, influencing people's emotions. We're doing it on such a small scale right now, and you're going to be able to do it at a much higher scale. So the brands that think about that, but in the same time say, but how can we be more human as a brand? While we're automating, how do we actually make it so we're a more human brand? We connect with people on different levels. That's a tricky thing. And most brands are still trying to figure out what AI is. So if you leave this conference and you already understand what it is, you have a bunch of use cases, and you realize ethics and morals plays into this. This isn't a let's go spam a bunch of people because now we know cool tools to do it. The best news for you is whatever comes at the far left of that curve is exactly where we are in this industry. Nobody knows this stuff. Nobody understands it. People are literally afraid of it. I had people tell me, I'm not going to conference. This stuff scares me. They're afraid. They don't know what it is. They think AI, they think sci-fi. And they see like these sentient beings in movies, and they think that's what we're talking about, and it's not. So because of that, you have this opportunity to create a competitive advantage unlike anything we've seen before in our industry. So how do you do it? 5 quick, tangible steps. The first is, and this is what the entire conference program was built around, is you find pilot use cases. You find small, quick win projects to test it, to prove to yourself that this isn't that hard, it's not that abstract, it's actually quite doable, and to prove to management. And you can't sell them on jargon. You can't go say, hey, we're gonna go put some machine learning in this, we're gonna go get AI, and this vendor I talked to has AI and it's awesome, and then it didn't work because it's gonna fail. Projects will fail. And so you have to go in and you have to have a plan to start small and build momentum. You don't just flip a switch and everything becomes intelligent. We have a number of talks focusing on data. Especially if you're a bigger business and you have lots of access to data, to think about the structure of that data. If you have a CRM system and an automation system and analytics and a call tracking, all these different tools, and none of them talk to each other, and the data's not structured properly, you can't make good predictions. There's all kinds of bias in there, like the predictions you get are gonna be useless. And so you can't start making new decisions just because you put some machine learning on it and you think it's all of a sudden smart. It's not. So you have to understand the role of data in this. And so I would advise you, especially if you're on the more technical side of the audience, go to the sessions that talk about this stuff. Maybe the most important slide. It is the Wild West right now for vendors with AI. And it's not their fault. You have a lot of vendors that are trying to build a roadmap to do this. There are a lot of CEOs of major tech companies who are where you are. They actually don't understand AI. That's not what they built their company around. And so they're trying to figure out a roadmap for AI. And maybe like one feature within one part of their software does use machine learning. Doesn't mean the whole platform is using machine learning and that it's actually a smarter solution. So when you're going to buy this new technology, AI is built to do very specific narrow tasks. Every one is a single use case. Now you can build a platform of use cases, but you buy software to do a very specific thing. And so you may actually add, if you're a big company, 5, 10, 15 new vendors to your tech stack. And if you start doing that and they're not actually smarter, you're gonna set yourself back years. So you have to know the right questions to ask. And again, that's part of the goal of this conference, is to teach you those questions. You have to educate and engage management because you're gonna have failures. And they need to be bought into a long-term play here. They have to understand the opportunity that exists to transform the business. And it's hard because we've all been through the big data transformation. We've all used these big keywords over the last few years to try and sell things internally. This is different. And it's hard to understand that, but hopefully when you leave, you will realize this is very, very different. The best advice I can give is to be curious. And you're here, you've already started this part. But what you'll see and be exposed to over the coming days, there are an amazing wealth of resources, many of them free, for you to learn this. So AI for Everyone was created by Andrew Ng, one of the foremost leaders in AI today, and he's actually able to explain it like a human. So he's brilliant. He built the Google Brain team, was the founding leader of the Google Brain team. He's an AI professor at Stanford. This course is designed as, I think, a 4-week course. I think I took it in 4 days. It's a self-paced course, and it's $79 if you want the certification. Otherwise, it's free. Literally, you would have to go to Stanford to get this education. You can get over a weekend. Those kinds of things are available. Microsoft launched an AI school. IBM has tons of education. AI.Google has tons of education. Facebook's opening up algorithms. Amazon's opening algorithms. Like, they all want you to understand this. You're now going to see Microsoft AI. If you haven't noticed it before, Microsoft AI ads are everywhere. It's because they want you to get comfortable with the term. They want you to understand things are going to get smarter. And you're going to have to give up a little data, but it's okay because you're not afraid anymore of what it is. Because you see cool actors you like talking about it. That's where we're at, is we're trying to make people accept that this exists. This is a free resource our team curated at the Institute. We basically took all of our favorite sources. You have courses, newsletters, videos, research, influencer lists, books. It's just like 100+ resources of like, hey, if you like reading best, here's books. If you like online courses best, take these. Most of the resources within there are free resources also. So that's a really good starting point. And this is probably a good note. I know it's in the housekeeping slides. All the slide decks will be made available within the next week. You'll get a link where you'll get all of these. So not just mine, but everybody's. So then, final thoughts. So this is my daughter, Isla, who's hiding in the back of the room. She's 7.5, and she is an artist. and according to her shirt, an aspiring maker, inventor, and creator. She takes after her mother, Cheryl, who's one of the most gifted people I've known, also an artist. This is Super Everything Girl, and Super Corn Dog, who is a unicorn and a dog, of course. Super Everything Girl has everything powers, of course, which include speed, flying, X-ray vision, and Isla told me when she saw the slide, tell them don't touch kryptonite. Like, all right, Super Everything. So the key here is a human did this from nothing, created this idea of a superhero with everything powers. So to me, when I was thinking about this, it's like, this is the more intelligent, more human thing. There is amazing beauty in art. It takes everything that makes us human to do these things. This is one of the questions I get all the time is, well, what remains human? What can't a machine do? These are things you can't do with a machine. Curiosity, creativity, empathy, emotion, intuition, and maybe most of all, imagination. But AI now makes it possible for us to envision Super Everything Girl as a Van Gogh, a Monet, and a Picasso. In a matter of minutes, using a tool called Runway ML, which I learned about last Thursday, they have 24 pre-trained machine learning models. You go in there, and one of them is adaptive style transfer. Repaint images in the style of famous painters. So in 5 minutes, 4 of them was downloading the tool and launching the beta software. I uploaded Isla's painting, I picked Picasso, I hit run remotely, and 30 seconds later, I had a picture of a Picasso. That is human and machine. It's envisioning something creative that I didn't even know you could do. This is Balin. He's 6. He's also in the back of the room. Recently became fascinated by Legos and Super Mario, specifically watching playthroughs of Mario games on Amazon Prime. And this was my fault. I knew he was obsessed with Mario, and one night I'm on the elliptical, and I'm like, Amazon Prime has to have like old Mario cartoons or something. So I go in there and type Mario, and wouldn't you know it, there's this whole niche industry, which I didn't know existed, of people playing video games that other people watch. Seemed kind of crazy to me, but I guess Twitch is probably why that happened. So like any parents, we thought, wow, that's a lot of screen time. We should probably not give him so much screen time. But then a few months back, what he saw on screen started coming to life through drawings and board design sketches. At his kindergarten graduation last month, as each kid walked across stage, teachers announced what they wanted to be when they grow up. For Balin, she said, a person that makes video games.
There's about maybe a checkpoint, but this is like a mega mushroom, so you can break through these. But I'm going to add warp pipes, but I thought something, 2 things really silly. Actually, 4.
This is human creativity in its rawest form. Imagination inspired by the world around him, mixed with strategy, and he doesn't know what the word means. These are things that are almost impossible to imbue on a machine. We can teach machines to be human-like. And as marketers, you can't forget, though, that we can tell them to predict, we can decide what to do with those predictions, and we can give them the ability to see, to hear, and this is in quotation marks, they're not actually seeing anything, see, hear, speak, move, write, and even in some capacity understand. But we can't make them human, and this is the part that marketers can't forget. That's not what we're trying to do. We aren't trying to replace humans. We're trying to unlock humans' true potential, trying to augment what they're capable of doing. So being an AI pioneer comes with great responsibility. Personalization without invasion of privacy, intelligent automation without dehumanization, and if we do that, we can make marketing more intelligent and we can make brands more human. So this is my family, a marketer, 2 artists, and a future video game designer. So I live every day in this weird world in between 2 realities. One is this marketer obsessed with AI, trying to figure out an intelligent future, looking at AI and knowing the impact it'll have on the workforce, the economy, society, and that of a father raising 2 amazing children whose innocence, imagination, and creativity inspire me to demand more from humanity, to create a better world for them so they can live better lives as consumers and as people. So I have to understand AI because I know the impact it's going to have on the world ahead of us. And as marketers, it's going to change things like nothing we've experienced before. But if we're thoughtful and intentional in how we use it, we can open up a whole new world of possibilities for our industry and beyond. So I'll leave you with go forth and create. The potential for AI is infinite. The future is marketer and machine, and the future is now. Thank you.